Buenos días a todos. Buenos días a
Good
los
morning, everybody. Good morning to those who are here with us today, and good morning to those who are going to be watching this later. Welcome. For your comfort, for those who are here accompanying us, we do have interpretation available, and you have the icon in the bottom part of your screen. You can select your language. We do have interpretation for English. And then the next one, once again, welcome and good morning. Welcome to our DELAC meeting. We are the District English Learner Advisory Committee for the English language learners in the district level. And we're here for the second meeting of 2022. We would ask that you would please put your name, the school where your students are, and the grade that they are attending. We'd like to know who is here with us and be able to have a list of all of you parents who are here. So this is our board, our leadership. I'm Mailet Centeno. My student is in William Anderson currently as a third grade student. We also have Mr. Miguel Gamboa. His students are in Mark Twain School, and we do need a secretary. Could be a man or a woman, someone. Whoever's interested, please communicate with us. And you can communicate with the language specialist or the community liaison, or you can direct yourself to Ms. Julie Kane, who's also here with us today, to be able to be representative of your school and to participate on our committee. So today we have this agenda. Dr. Julie Kane will be speaking to us. She's going to be giving an update about the ELPAC, which are the results of the ELPAC up until now. So we have the English language learners. There was a survey that was done to the schools for the 2021-22 school year. And once again, all of this, Dr. Julie Kane is going to be bringing us up to speed with all this information, and also with regard to the funds, how they're used, how the Title III funds are used. And then at the end of the meeting, I will be speaking a little bit about how we need new leaders for this committee. Our term is coming to its end in May. So without further delay, Dr. Julie Kane is going to speak with regard to this information. Welcome.
Before I share that with you, I'm just going to do one quick advertisement to remind you that dual immersion applications for kindergarten are open right now, and they will be open until February 25th. So please, if you have incoming kindergartners and you would like to develop their English and develop at the same time their Spanish language skills, please consider applying. And whoops, if I can get this to move. Applications are open now, and the deadline is February 25th. Again, remember, it's at Twain, and we're also expanding to Mitchell Elementary School for the new year. So we have much more space for students, and we're really excited to expand our program. Now on to our regularly scheduled program. I just wanted to give you an update on ELPAC, where we stand right now. This is a dashboard that I monitor that tells me how many tests we've started. So the window for ELPAC opened on February 1st, which was last week. So far, we've tested just a little over 8%. We start always with third grade through eighth grade because we want them to finish and have a break before they go on to take the SBAC after spring break. Then at the end of February, we will start with kindergarten. The additional test that you see there with the green bar is the alternate ELPAC operational field test, which is for our students who participate in the alternate curriculum. They have an alternate assessment Their window closes next week. Due to COVID and absences, it has been difficult because it's an in-person test, but we are doing our best to get all of our students tested by the deadline, which is the 15th. You should have received letters from your schools telling you about the schedule for your child's ELPAC assessments, but February and March are going to be the busy times. Before, I know I saw Judith came in. We have some friends here. Are there any questions about ELPAC before we move on? Okay, I'm going to continue then with our English learner needs assessment.
Miss Julie, hay una pregunta.
Yes. Oh,
There is a question, Julie, in the chat. Mr. Gamboa would like to open up his mic to ask the question to Dr. Kane.
Dr. Kane, I was just, is it confirmed that there will be ELPAC this year? Is that 110% for sure?
that is what we know today. Yes,
Okay.
we are proceeding
Okay.
with ELPAC this year.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the needs assessment. If you remember, at the end of last school year, each school did a needs assessment of parents of English learners. And we have tried to come back to it here and again to see what that told us. And I wanted to review it a little bit today, just as we think about how we use our funding to make sure that we're meeting parents' needs and that you know how the process works. So if you remember, taking this survey at the end of last year, each school sent it to their parents, and you answered questions such as this one. I feel that my child made adequate progress this school year. And as you can see at this school, this is one particular school's, 70.3% agreed, 21.6% strongly agreed. So we're looking at 92% linking very favorably that yes, my child made adequate progress. And that's great news. Another question, my child is receiving enough support in core subjects. So that means in addition to getting English language development, when my child takes math or my child takes science, is he or she getting support for English in those classes? And again, we have a very high percentage in the blue and the red saying, yes, I agree. I am informed about my child's, I think that says progress. Sorry, my screen sharing is blocking the wording. Again, very high agreement with parents at this site. I feel that the English language development program functions well for my child. Again, high percentage. Even have some excellent here, the light blue. Above and beyond, strongly agree and agree. I'm aware of my child's English proficiency level. So that means I understand how my child progresses and that they start out possibly as an emerging bilingual as they work their way up to bridging into English language proficiency. A little bit more here in the orange with no opinion, meaning either maybe I just don't know, or I'm not sure what you're asking. So there might be some clarifying we could do there. I understand the reclassification criteria, still very high, but it's not 100%. So there may be some work we can do there where parents might not know about reclassification. I am provided translation into my home language when I need it. Again, a very high percentage, some saying I don't need it, and that's absolutely fine. We have multilingual parents, just as we have multilingual children who are also proficient in English. And I have tools that I could use at home to help my child develop their English language. And again, very high percentages, more than 80% in agreement. The part that I find most interesting is the open-ended section where parents can write other needs, other concerns, or other thoughts. So I grabbed some from a couple different schools. And It says homework. This would be one I'd want to follow up on, because what exactly do you mean? Is too much? Is it too little? Do we need help with it? And I bring this to your attention because these are things to discuss in your own ELAC at your site. You pull down these results and talk about them. You can, possibly the person who filled it out is in your meeting and can clarify, and or you can work with your ELERT to really get at what supports do we have in place for homework? What does homework look like at our school? How can we make it easier for parents to support with homework? This one here, yo pienso que tienen que exigirles más a los niños que se meten.
I think we need to insist that schools do more tutoring.
Students who need support in English. That's an opinion about a parent whose child is receiving intervention. And so that would be interesting to explore what happens in intervention, how are children being supported? Do we still maintain rigor and have high expectations for all our students, even though they need support to get there? One parent doesn't think their child needs English language development. That would be a good conversation to have with the teacher. Show me, how is my child doing? How is he or she performing on the ELPAC, on their language arts assessments, on their math assessments, to really get at what does the child need? And then a request for English language classes for adults. And if you remember, before the pandemic, we did offer English language classes for adults. I know for sure we had them at FDR. I think we might have had them at Green, and I think there was a third site. And that may be something that, I know that program ended during the pandemic, but now that hopefully maybe we're coming back to normal times, we might be able to get that class back. So that would be an interesting conversation to have at your ELAC. Is this something that our parents are asking for? For school, and I saw this in a number of schools, parents saying, my child doesn't need English language development. And oftentimes we hear from parents, you know, when we call them to say your child's reclassifying, and they get a what? Reclassifying from what? I wasn't aware my child was an English learner, or I got this letter. What does this mean? Which is a reminder to us that we have to be really clear with parents as we enroll students, what the home language survey means, what the initial ELPAC does. And so I've seen this enough comments in the survey to say that there are still parents who are unclear as to how this works. And so that is another thing that's very good to discuss with your ELERT, with the parents in your ELAC, to make sure everyone understands. And we do go back and double check our records and make sure that we did identify children correctly. And there's a process for that as well. Again, another vote for classes for parents in English, like we had before. Some concern about students not progressing as much, the learning loss that may have occurred due to the pandemic. And so how can I help my child with learning English after having this time away from in-person instruction? Again, really good topic to be covering in your ELAC meeting, talking with your ELERTs, talking with your teachers to figure out, are there interventions that children need? Are there extra supports we could be providing? That's why we do this needs assessment. This one, I like the help for learning English. I'm not sure if this is for parents or for students, but they'd like to have more of it 3 times a week. I'm guessing outside of school, outside of regular classes. So again, some schools are offering more support. Most of our campuses offer a newcomer group before school, where kids who have just recently entered the country and are learning English get extra support with how does school work here? What are the emergency English phrases that I need? What are special, resources for parents who are just trying to learn this country? So we do have those services available. And if they're not happening at your site, it's a good question to ask if they could be. This one, I'm not in agreement with the reduction in English language development classes. And my guess is that we have stopped switching classes for English language development by level is what this comment is referring to due to COVID. And so because of COVID and our seating charts and our inability to move kids around, we've had to keep classes together. And so some kids are in the classroom who don't need English language development services, and you might have multiple levels of English language development needs in the same room. And we are still providing the services those children need. But yes, we look forward to when we can go back to moving classes again and really do targeted, all my beginning ELD kids together and all my emerging kids together. And my fluent English proficient kids could be working on something else in another room. And so hopefully we'll get back to that in the new year. Question about how to help my child do better in reading. So again, great question to ask the teacher, great question to bring to your ELAC to ask the ELERT, and needing help in understanding assessment results. That could be SBAC, that could be ELPAC, that could be the benchmark assessment, that could be the iReady assessment. That's really grade specific, teacher specific. And so that's a great thing to work on at your school site. And that's why we do these needs assessments, because that's the information we need to move forward at your sites to make sure that your kids are receiving the services that they need. Okay, that's the sample I pulled. I wasn't going to make you run through all 8 of them because they're pretty similar. In general, the responses are parents are happy with the services children are receiving, with the quality of the improvement with their English language development. But we do see in the comment section some requests for further services or clarification. And so that's the work that we do at our ELAC. I'm going to pause here and see if there are any questions, or comments, or wonderings about that.
No, simplemente recalcar lo que
No,
usted
just want to emphasize what you just said right now in these last few seconds, that these results, like 37 answers, might be surprising. It's not just that what they receive from the whole district. There's similar answers in each school. And previously, I believe at the beginning of the year, put some of these similar results from different schools, we put them, it looks similar because of this. It's a similar percentage. You can see this throughout all the schools that they have similar answers. Another thing that I wanted to comment on is that, yes, we still do need to provide this kind of preparation or education to the parents about what does it mean to be an English language learner, because being an English language learner or an emergent bilingual is not necessarily bad. It doesn't have to be seen as like a disability or some kind of a handicap for kids, but on the contrary, it's something extracurricular so they can reach that academic level, which is necessary for them to continue growing in their education. So I do believe this is very important to keep working on this, to participate a little bit more actively in educating the parents about what this is all about, being an English language learner, that they could understand the whole concept, not just to be with a closed mindset, like it's an English language learner and that's not good, but on the contrary, it is an extra help. And then this reminds me something that you mentioned, that the kids are not separating to go to their classes, which previously they had that. They would go out of their normal classroom to participate in another class with a different teacher to be able to help them in developing their language. And I do know that because of my students in 3rd grade, and I'm told when they have the English language, they're all together. They're all in the same class. Nobody leaves, nobody else comes. but they say they feel good because everybody's doing the same thing. And right now they are practicing the ELPAC exam on their computers, on their Chromebooks. So I'm being told like everyone's doing it, you feel good. So this is like a practice for reading comprehension, even for those who are just English language speakers. Like they're not giving them a different language. It's in the practice is in English. They answer in English. So this is all very interesting, all these results that you presented, Ms. Julian. Once again, maybe I gave an extended commentary, but it's important for us to be able to know as parents what it means to be a student of English. What's the process like? How do they get reclassified and why do they continue to be English language learners? And how it is that they have to reach that academic level, to reach the level 4 and to reclassify, and then to be able to continue advancing. So thank you, and excellent information to be able to keep learning.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a comment or a question?
Sí, mi nombre es Judith.
Yes, my name is Judith. And with regard to my child, she just started kindergarten. I was sent a letter about the evaluation that's going to be done. So I was like, why if she only speaks English and she doesn't speak Spanish? So that's something that I would like to learn. I didn't even know what that was because it's for English language. I do have an older child, but I never found out about that. I didn't know. It's something that I'm learning right now about with the DELAC. And it does seem interesting to me for us to get educated and to know that this is not bad that they have this. The DELAC, that it's not bad. That's what I thought. So it's a confusion, like as far as if my child doesn't speak English, but I would like to be educated in regards to how would this benefit the child and how would this help them? That's it.
Thank you. See, Mylette, I think, has a future as an English language development teacher or ELERT because she can explain all of these things so well as a parent and how it works. And again, I totally agree with everything she said. English language supports are there to ensure that our children are successful, and being bilingual, trilingual, multilingual is a gift, right? And so we just want to make sure that everyone has access to the curriculum because our curriculum is taught in English. So we want to make sure that children can access it and become proficient in English as well as their primary language, which is one of the major reasons we promote our dual immersion program, because children learn in both languages, English and Spanish, and develop both at the same time. Mylette, did you want to add anything to that?
No, Jennifer, Judith.
No, Julie, that's why we're here. We're here to learn not just numbers. It's not just the results of surveys, but what we're learning is precisely information to be able to help our students and that they can reach that academic level that's necessary so that every time they change grades that they're growing according to the way that they're advancing in their education. So perhaps the main goal that we can reach is reaching that level of being able to go into university, be a professional. We all have something to learn about how to support our students when we do find out what's going on day by day with their education. So Judith, welcome. I hope you continue participating with us and you're going to learn how it works and how the English language learner advances, how the student your student is as little in kindergarten, but it is a good opportunity for you to begin right now. And yes, as Ms. Julie says, this language support is extensive, and what is offered, just look how things are. Our students are English language learners, but now the district offers the dual immersion program where now the students are being taught in Spanish, which our children already know. So perhaps, as I mentioned, there's several languages. It's not just Spanish and English for kids who are English language learners. There's children from other languages. We have more than 40 languages that are spoken within our district. So this topic is super immense. We'd like to keep talking about it on another opportunity. So I don't know if Mr. Gamboa would like to add anything to that topic as well. Yes, yeah, thank you, Myla. I am in agreement with everything that's been said. I was gonna say something more. As parents, as it's important to understand the reclassification process, to understand it more when they're little, instead of once, oh, I've seen this announcement that they're going to take this exam year after year after year. It's important to understand the reclassification process when they're in kindergarten and know how to have those conversations with the students so that they can also be informed about how to reclassify. And it takes time because since they're kids, my son is in 7th grade, and his brother and sister are in English only, but he was the first one in school, and he was classified as an English language learner, and now he's taking the ELPAC, the exam, and he came back on Tuesday and he said they started. And my point is, this progress has taken, many conversations, many chats about how to take the exam seriously and how to put forth his best effort to understand, to ask questions in the other classes if he needs support.
Okay, so and I'm glad you mentioned taking it seriously, right? And that's one thing we're trying to impress upon the children, that this test is important to demonstrate how much you've learned in English. And I'll tell you just anecdotally, the ELERTs who have started the testing, they started last week with the one-on-one speaking portion for the 3rd through 5th graders. And they were saying, wow, I've got a lot of kids coming through for the speaking section, at least, earning a 4, speaking really well, understanding what's being said, and wondering, are we doing so much better now because we're in person and we can see each other? We're not doing it through the computer this year. Or is it that now, we're back face to face, the kids are really grabbing that language and now they're showing how much they've learned. So I find it very encouraging. So hopefully we'll see our children doing really well this year and demonstrating that growth that we like to see every year. Okay, so if there are no other questions on that, I'm going to talk a little bit about Title III funds for English learners. These are funds that we apply for and receive because we have English learners. So these are supplemental funds that we use on top of the funds we use for all children, the funds we use for Title I. Now we have also additional funds for English learners. And so how we use those funds is to improve instruction for our English learners. So as you know, we have ELERTs, or English Learner Instructional Resource Teachers, one at every school. And we work with two organizations, TNTP and Stanford University, to help our ELERTs get better at coaching our teachers on how to deliver that instruction. So, for instance, tomorrow being Thursday, we have professional development. So all of the teachers who teach ELD at the middle school level will be receiving English language development PD. And this time around, about a third of the elementary school teachers will be receiving English language development, professional development on how to improve instruction. When we look at our data, we see that on the ELPAC, the area where we need the most work is in writing. And so how do we support teachers in supporting our students to improve in their writing? Actually, we have to back up and say, how do we help our students with their speaking? Because you can't write about something unless you can talk about something. So how do we make sure we build into all of our lessons opportunities for children to practice the language, practice the vocabulary, practice the language structures of English, practice the content information like science and social studies, because that's what they're tested on, and then be able to write about it. So the teachers receive professional development. Then ELERTs work with them at their grade levels on the days when your children go to PE at the elementary level, middle school during their after school hours, and do extra planning. Okay, so now what does this look like in my classroom? And then some have done lab days where they go in and one teacher will teach, they all observe each other, then they go back and they debrief it. And then someone goes and teaches it in their class and they improve their lessons so that they keep getting better and see how the children keep moving forward. So that's where we spend a good chunk of our Title III funds. Also, well, I talked about already, teachers to attend professional development. That includes things like CABE, which we've also sent parents to. This year it was reduced again. CABE was reduced to an online only. They had plans to do it in San Francisco, and COVID kind of knocked that down. So we will look for next year with the local, it should be on our side of town, hopefully being able to go to Long Beach or something like that and continue our studies as parents and teachers, both English language development teachers and dual immersion teachers, to improve how we support students. We also last summer supported a newcomer academy for our middle school students who were coming onto campus for the first time. And that was both sixth graders and seventh graders who had never been on campus. We included some of our eighth graders who were new and really helped them kind of develop a social group, help them understand how middle school works in the US, help them with some target vocabulary. This summer, I'd like to expand that to include elementary students. So we're working on putting that together. And remember, newcomers are students who have been with us and in a US school less than 3 years and were born in another country. So we have about 150 students across the district who would qualify for this. And so we'll work on putting together our academy and advertising it amongst the summer school options. And then Title III also helps us with our dual immersion, which we are expanding to Mitchell, as I advertised earlier. And we're this year working for the first time in assessing all of our students' Spanish language proficiency. Right now, all of our English learners take the ELPAC to see how they're progressing in English. Now we're mirroring that and saying everyone in dual immersion is also learning Spanish. We're doing an assessment just like ELPAC, but in Spanish to see what is your Spanish proficiency and how are you growing. So this is our first year testing all kids K through 8 in dual immersion. As we continue that forward, then we'll be able to see that growth and track it and eventually reclassify Spanish proficient students. Because if you think about it, a dual immersion class now has English learners and has Spanish learners. And we want them to be proficient in both as they progress on to their seal of biliteracy once they get to high school. So I paired needs that are identified in your needs assessments at your sites with how we're using the funds, because that's how we make decisions, right? We see a need, we make decisions to support. And really what our my goal, our goal at the district level is to make sure that every English learner in their regular core classroom gets the best English language development lessons that they can and the best access to core content. And so we spend the majority of our time working on first instruction, making sure that it is of highest quality for English learners. And then at the school site, there are also add-on, which you saw also in the request, is interventions and extra supports for students at the school level who need more than that. And so then that supplements what we do at this level. Let's see, I think that's, yes, that's all that I have to present on Title III funds. Were there any questions or comments about that?
Yo tengo solo un.
I do just have a comment, Ms. Julie. What you mentioned about the seal, about being fluent or being proficient in language, does that help them for those who are about finishing intermediate or middle school going into high school, because they can take AP classes, which are advanced, and that can help them to get college credit. So all of it is like a chain that helps them to be able to obtain more academic knowledge and to improve that academic quality and be better prepared for high school and then eventually for college. And then one other thing which I missed, I wanted to ask you about the ELPAC exams. Sorry, that was a little bit previous. For those who are in independent studies at home and they want to keep taking their classes with distance learning and they're not coming in person, will they also start this evaluation?
We are required to test 100% of our English learners. So we can do remote testing, just like we did last year, where the children log on at home and we can assess them that way. We also this year are inviting our independent study students to come in and take the test on campus as another way to do it, because it's difficult to assess via the computer. So we're hoping that most of our independent study students will come in for the assessment, and they're receiving invitations and schedules from their school sites. And we also will provide it via the computer from home for those who opt not to come in to campus, but we will test everybody.
Gracias, Ms. Julie.
Thank you, Ms. Julie. That was one of my questions. I don't know if anybody else has a question. If you don't want to open up your mic and ask a question, you could even write it and then we'll read it and we'll ask the question to Dr. Kane. For those who just joined us, can you please write your name and the school that you're coming from? We will thank you so much. Thanks. So I believe it's my turn, right, Julie?
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
No, solamente.
No, I just, this is just an invitation for everyone who's here or whoever's tuning in later to the recording, that we are inviting you to be part of this committee, the DELAC committee. And I'm speaking for myself. I became part of my community in Anderson in the ELAC, which is the same committee, but it's at a local level. Every school has this committee. And then from there, we were participating in the monthly meetings, which we were having on a district level. We had this, it seems like it was a long time ago when we used to come in person to the district and participate in these meetings. We didn't precisely come here wanting to be leaders, but we got the opportunity and that's why we're here. And we want to invite you guys to participate in your local communities. And also if you have interest in participating in this committee, you can go to the next one, Ms. Julie. Our elections for this committee are in May. In May, we're going to have nominations. If you want to nominate yourself as a possible candidate for one of the three, there's three different positions. We have the secretary, we have the president, and no, the treasurer is Dr. Kane's position. It's the president, vice president, and secretary. I'm thinking about a different committee. Yeah, I'm thinking about the PTA. So those are the positions that we have here. And so Dr. Kane can help guide us as to how we can develop the meeting and how to present some of this information on this platform. So right now, we've been doing this for 2 years, Ms. Julie. We've been doing it through Zoom, but we do have the hope that soon it will be in person, that we'll actually meet, we'll get to know each other, we'll have the opportunity to chat and see one another there. So we invite you to be communicating with some of your school representatives. The ideal person that you could communicate with to be able to participate in this would be your community liaison or the direct person would be the language specialist. For example, Sarai Cuevas is here. Every one of your schools has a language specialist. I believe Sarai is a community liaison. You can communicate with her. It'd be excellent. They can help guide you as to how you can be part of this committee, not just on a district level, but also on a local level. So the dates for the local committees are shared through Class Dojo. The majority of them are. But these are the emails that you can, where you can get in touch. And also you can see the calendars on your schools on each school's webpage. Next one. Our next meeting, our next DELAC meeting will be on March 9th. So we will get this information to you. We do have other important meetings where you can learn information about what's going on a district-wide level. We have the DPAC meeting, which is on February 23rd. And we also have the African American Committee, which is a new committee. And let me just let you know, your voices are heard within the district when you participate. This committee started by parents who wanted to have a voice and have active participation in the district. So I invite you to participate, and that's on February 10th, and that's in the evening. And next one, please. We also have the Board of Trustees, the school board meeting. They make the decisions on a district-wide level, and that's February 17th. If you have any questions or any comments about what's going on in your district, and you want them to hear you so that there can be changes, you can present that comment in person to the Board of Trustees, and that meeting will be February 17th at 5 in the evening, and you have to register. You can see it says register to be able to speak and to make a comment to the school board or Board of Trustees. So it's very important to be able to know what's going on. You can hear information or hear about decisions that are being made for our schools. And I do believe that with that, we're finishing. Is there anything that, Mr. Gamboa, that you want to add? Just about the Board of Trustees meeting, if you could please for those of you guys who are here, and if you know more people who are not here, please communicate to them. In any meeting, you're able to go and you can make your comments in Spanish without fear and without thinking that you're doing something bad or that it's not okay. Just like the comments are made in English, you can make comments in Spanish, and that's the same. And I believe I wanted to communicate that, let everyone know with every opportunity to the parents. So if people want to make a comment, there might be some who want to make a comment, but they don't feel comfortable making that in English, so they can do it in Spanish without any problems. So be encouraged to get involved and to make your comments and any time that you have a comment to make. You're bringing up a very important topic, Mr. Gamboa, because thanks to these comments. Thanks to these asks, we're able to have the interpretation in this meeting. It was not provided in previous years, but now we do have it available because the parents made that petition. And so the district asks us when we have comments, when we have questions, when we have petitions or asks. So you guys do have something, if you have something that you would like to propose or something that's implemented in our district, these are the platforms that you need to participate in. So the Board of Trustees is where these initiatives are proposed and they're approved. So we invite you, as Mr. Gamboa was saying, don't be embarrassed about presenting your question or your comment in Spanish. I know perhaps there may be other languages, but they will make it possible to be able to interpret for someone in the moment. Or we do know that the district and the staff from the district listen to us. We are parents. We don't work for the district. We're parents, involved parents, and we have questions, we have comments. Not precisely everything that we ask are going to be given to us, but they do listen to what our suggestions are. And so we make that open invitation for you to come with us and to participate in this type of meeting. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Kane. I don't know if there's anything more to add.
Just thank you so much for coming and your participation, and please tell a friend and tell another friend and bring your friends to your, most importantly, your ELAC meetings at your own school. So that's where the work really gets done. But also to these meetings to be informed, to learn, and to bring that information back to your sites. And you have wonderful leaders here in Milet and Miguel who can lead you through all of that. So please take advantage.
Gracias a todos. Gracias.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you to the community liaisons. Thank you to the language specialists who are here with us. We hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer.